Picture this. You land a better job. Your salary jumps from $50,000 to $70,000 a year. That's $20,000 extra dollars annually. You should feel rich. You should be saving more, stressing less, finally getting ahead. Instead, 6 months later, you are in the exact same spot you were before. Same financial anxiety, same feeling that there's never quite enough, same empty savings account at the end of the month, and you have no idea why. Here is why. You upgraded your apartment, you got a nicer car, you started ordering food delivery instead of cooking, you bought better clothes for the new job, you said yes to more trips, more dinners out, more subscriptions. Nothing dramatic, nothing stupid. Just 100 small, perfectly reasonable decisions that each made total sense on their own. Together, they consumed every single dollar of that raise before you ever noticed. That is lifestyle creep. It is quiet, it is invisible, it feels completely normal, and it is the reason that millions of people who earn genuinely good money will retire with almost nothing. Today we are breaking down exactly how it works, why your brain is wired to fall for it, and the specific system that keeps it from eating your future alive. Lifestyle creep has a formal definition in behavioral economics. It is the gradual increase in spending that happens whenever disposable income rises. The key word is gradual. It does not happen all at once. It happens in small, forgettable increments that feel like progress rather than waste. And that is what makes it so dangerous. Nobody sits down and decides to blow their raise. Nobody makes a conscious choice to stay financially stuck. It just happens automatically, almost biologically, because of something called hedonic adaptation. Hedonic adaptation is your brain's tendency to return to a stable emotional baseline no matter what changes in your life. Buy a new car, and for 2 weeks you feel amazing every time you get in. By week 6, it is just a car. Move to a nicer apartment, and the first month feels like a hotel. By month 3, it is just home. The upgrade stops feeling like an upgrade, but the cost never stops. So you go looking for the next thing that will bring that feeling back. The cycle repeats. The spending ratchets up one notch, then another, then another. Your income grows, your lifestyle matches it, and your savings stay exactly where they were. Research from Purdue University found that beyond a certain income threshold, earning more money does not increase day-to-day emotional well-being at all. People adapt. The new normal replaces the old normal, and yet the financial obligation of the new normal stays permanent. That gym membership you got excited about, that streaming service you forgot you subscribed to, that neighborhood you moved to because you could finally afford it. Each one sounded like a reward. Each one became just another fixed cost. Let's make this concrete, because the numbers are genuinely shocking when you actually do the math. Say you get a raise at 28 years old that increases your take-home pay by $800 a month. $800 of new available income. Most people spend roughly 80 to 90% of any income increase within the first year. Studies on consumer spending behavior consistently show this pattern. People adjust their lifestyle to match their new income almost as fast as the income arrives. So, in our example, you spend $650 of those $800 on upgraded living. That leaves $150 actually saved. Now here's the version where you make a different call. You decide to live exactly as you did before the raise and invest that full $800 every month starting at age 28. At a 7% average annual return, by age 65, that single decision, that one disciplined response to one raise, is worth approximately $1.9 million. $1.9 million from one raise that you just decided not to spend. Most people never run this number. They look at a raise and think of it as permission. Permission to finally get that car. Permission to move somewhere nicer. Permission to eat out without guilt. What they are actually doing is spending $1 million in exchange for an apartment upgrade they will adapt to in 3 months and forget about in 6. The math is not cruel. It is just honest. Here's the part that surprises people the most. Lifestyle creep does not get better as income grows. It gets worse. The scale just changes. When you earn $40,000 a year and get a $5,000 raise, you upgrade your groceries and maybe your streaming plan. When you earn $200,000 a year and get a $30,000 raise, You upgrade your car, take a nicer vacation, move to a better neighborhood, and start buying things you tell yourself you now deserve. The psychological mechanism is identical. The dollar amount is just much larger. This is why surveys on financial stress consistently show high earners reporting the same anxiety as middle earners. A 2023 survey by Empower found that nearly 1 in 3 Americans earning 6 figures describe themselves as living paycheck to paycheck. These are not people making bad salaries. These are people whose expenses expanded in perfect proportion to every single raise they ever received. There is even a specific phenomenon in high-earning professions called golden handcuffs. Doctors, lawyers, and executives build lifestyles that require their full income to maintain. The big salary starts to feel like a cage rather than freedom because every dollar of it is spoken for before it arrives. They cannot take a lower stress job. They cannot take time off. They cannot take any professional risk because the cost of their lifestyle allows exactly zero margin for error. Lifestyle creep at scale does not just limit your savings. It limits your options. It limits your choices. It limits your ability to make decisions based on what you actually want from your life rather than what your expenses demand. Lifestyle creep is sneaky because it hides in categories that feel legitimate. You are not gambling. You are not buying something embarrassing. You are just living better. Here are the 4 places it most consistently does its damage. Housing is the biggest one. Rent and mortgage payments are the single largest budget category for most households. Every time income increases, there is enormous social and cultural pressure to upgrade where you live. The problem is that housing costs are sticky. They go up easily. They almost never come back down. Once you commit to a more expensive place to live, that number becomes fixed, permanent, and non-negotiable every single month for as long as you stay. Transportation is the second place. A new income level means you can qualify for a better car loan. The dealership will happily show you something that fits your new budget. And every payment you make on that vehicle is money that will never compound, never grow, never work for you. It just leaves. Food and dining habits are third. This one is subtle because it is daily and because each individual purchase is small. Going from cooking at home to ordering delivery 4 nights a week, going from fast casual to sit-down restaurants, going from making coffee to buying it every morning. None of it feels significant in the moment. Across a year, it adds up to several $1,000s in spending that generated exactly 0 lasting value. Subscriptions and recurring costs are fourth. These are the quietest killers on the list because they require no active decision to keep happening. According to research by C+R, the average American underestimates their monthly subscription spending by about $130. That is money leaving your account every month on a schedule you set up once and then stopped thinking about entirely. These 4 categories together can silently absorb an enormous raise and leave nothing behind. Knowing that lifestyle creep is a problem does not stop it. Willpower does not stop it either. Willpower is a limited resource that gets depleted by stress, by tiredness, by the 50 other decisions you make every day. What stops lifestyle creep is a system that operates without requiring willpower at all. Here is the system. It has 3 parts, and none of them are complicated. Part 1 is the raise rule. Every time your income increases, you commit a fixed percentage of that increase to investing before you do anything else. Not after. Before. The standard recommendation that financial planners consistently point to is saving or investing at least 50% of every raise you ever receive. Some people do 75%. The number matters less than the habit of doing it immediately and automatically before the spending has a chance to adjust. You get a raise. The first thing that happens is an automatic transfer increases to match 50% of the new income. The lifestyle does not expand to fit the full raise because you never saw the full raise. You only ever saw half of it. The other half went directly to work for your future self before your present self had a chance to spend it. Part 2 is the annual audit. Once per year, you sit down and go through every single recurring expense you have, every subscription, every automatic payment, every service you signed up for and forgot about. You ask one question about each one. Does this still earn its place? Not is it nice to have. Does it earn its place? Most people who do this for the first time find between $100 and $300 monthly in services they no longer actively use. That is money that has been quietly leaving on autopilot with zero value being returned. Cancel without guilt. These are not sacrifices. They are corrections. Part 3 is the intentional upgrade. This is the part that makes the whole system sustainable rather than miserable. Not every raise goes entirely to investing. Some of it, a deliberate, chosen portion, goes toward a specific upgrade you actually want. The difference is intention. Instead of the lifestyle expanding automatically and unconsciously to absorb all available income, you choose one thing to improve. You fund it deliberately, and everything else stays constant. This feels completely different from deprivation because it is completely different from deprivation. You are not saying no to everything. You are saying yes to the things you genuinely choose, and no to the things that would have just happened by default. That distinction matters enormously for how sustainable the system feels over the long term. There is a deeper layer to this conversation that most financial content skips. Lifestyle creep is not just a math problem, it is an identity problem. When income rises, there is enormous social pressure to signal that rise to other people. Nicer clothes, nicer car, nicer address. These are not random choices. They are communications. They tell the world you have arrived somewhere. They confirm your status in a language that everyone around you can read without you saying a word. The people around you often reinforce this. Friends expect you to pick up a bigger share of the bill. Family assumes you can afford more. Colleagues from a similar income level live in a certain way, and quietly, the expectation forms that you will too. Opting out of lifestyle creep is not just a financial decision, it is a social decision, and social decisions are genuinely hard. The reframe that actually helps is this. The wealthiest people you will ever meet are almost never the ones displaying the most visible signs of wealth. The person driving the understated car in a nice neighborhood is more likely to own it than the person driving the flashiest car on the block. Quiet wealth almost always beats loud consumption in the long run. The identity you want to build is not someone who looks wealthy. It is someone who is wealthy. Those two things require almost completely opposite behaviors. One requires spending to signal, the other requires restraint to accumulate, and only one of them gets you to a place where money is no longer something you worry about every month. Let's make this actionable. Not in 3 months. This week. The first thing to do is run your own creep audit. Pull up your bank statements for the last 3 months. Go through every line. Mark anything that was not in your life 2 years ago. You are not judging these purchases. You are just making them visible. Most people have never actually done this. When you see the full list of what has crept in and how much it now costs per month, the number is almost always a surprise. The second thing is to identify your largest recent upgrade, the one thing that increased your monthly fixed costs the most since your last salary increase. Ask yourself honestly, does the actual daily reality of this upgrade match what you imagined when you got it? Or have you fully adapted and it just feels normal now? That question alone changes how you make the next decision. The third thing is to set up the automatic transfer now, today, before the next raise arrives. Do not wait until you have more money. The behavior of investing first needs to be in place and automatic before the next income increase arrives. If it is not already there, the raise will get spent before you make the decision. This is not a theory. This is just how the timing reliably works. The fourth thing is to pick one intentional upgrade, one specific thing, fully funded, chosen deliberately. Write down what it is and what it will cost monthly. Everything else stays where it is. That single act of intentionality reframes the whole relationship with spending. You are choosing, not drifting. 4 steps, 1 week. None of them require sacrifice. All of them require honesty. Lifestyle creep is not a character flaw. It is a default setting. It is what happens automatically when nobody intervenes. The economy, the advertising industry, the culture of status signaling, all of it is designed to make sure that as soon as you earn more, you spend more. The system works exactly as intended. The only question is whether you are running the default or running something you actually designed. Your income growing should make your life better, not just more expensive. Better, more secure, more flexible, more full of options, and less full of obligation. The version of a better life that actually delivers on that promise is built through discipline at every income level, not just the one you are at right now. Every raise is a fork in the road. One path looks like a reward. The other path builds the kind of freedom where raises are eventually optional because you already built what you needed from the ones before. That is the version worth building. I am Eva. See you in the next one.